whether the requirements of the product requirements has been met. It involves the checking of the.
So here in this question, it was also a very direct question that what is software testing? So that should be very clear in your mind. You are a tester. You want to be a tester. So what is software testing? Something that should be in the tip of your tongue. You have used a lot of fillers like that is not acceptable in this question. In other questions it's fine, but not in this question. You should be very, very clear with your thought process, and at least in this is not a technical question that was asked. This was just a question that what is this field all about? Understood?
Yes,
So
sir.
that is important. Uh,
So here it was like expected that you will just say a few words like the main keywords are important, that you will check with the software that is complete. It should be correct. You will check the quality of the system, and the software which has been developed is as per the user requirements of it. So these are the four things which is like expected. And if you say these four things, that is more than enough to explain what is software testing.
Okay.
Right. So Govind, what I'll do is that you start sharing the screen from here. You take over, and you can pause and explain, get to the areas where he had made any mistake. Okay.
Whether the product which we have made is a software tester should be clear with the requirements, and we should be protocols and all, like for checking, think out of the box.
As you mentioned that a software tester should think out of the box, and since you are also a software tester or will be a software tester in your future, so can you cite an example or experience that you had to go through wherein you thought something out of the box?
So actually, just a small example, like if you are testing a watch, this was happened during my classes on the.
So Ritu, you said correctly, but you demonstrated as your friend thought it, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, so it gives a negative impact for them.
Yeah, sure, sir.
And in class also we had lot of scenarios where we thought out of box here, where we consider that tube light example. Suddenly the power is off, and suddenly it comes. Then what happens? If a button was on at that time and suddenly I keep it off, I cut my wires in between. Then what it happens? There's no capacitor allowed. There's no choke given to the old tube light. So what happens? So this was what? This was out of box. Out of box means what? The situation which we never thought of that will arrive. Like who will think of cutting the wires? There's like totally thinking something different than a normal scenario. A normal person will think all those things, and you will think something out. Like what if, say, if I want to go by walk for some place, we have lots of options. Who will think of going on a small, cycle, which a small baby will use? We will not think. This is what? This is out of box thinking.
Okay.
Okay. Who will think of going in helicopter? If you want to go from one place to another, that is a small distance, say only 5 kilometers. We will not be able to think of going by an aeroplane or something. So what is this? This is out of box. You can say, take any kind of an example and you can give this. So always remember that whenever you are giving kind of answers, or if you are using any kind of keywords, so always remember that an interviewer will ask according to that.
Okay.
So you also use the term called as a tester should have good protocols. So you might ask, what are the protocols that a tester should use? So you should know what are the protocols that a tester should use. Tester should have a good observation skill. You should follow the documentation first. You should follow the requirements documents first. You should follow design. You should write a clear test cases so that if any individual is not aware of the functionality also, just reading it can understand what it is.
Okay, sir.
This kind of things are more important.
Okay.
file, the battery or charge, how much time it will, thinking like this. But what will happen if we strap this? I didn't think like that.
Okay. Okay. So as you mentioned, you did not think like that. So it was not you who thought out of the box.
I know it
I
was not
I
me
cited an
actually.
example where
So you gave a very good example, but as soon as you said that, even if you have given a good answer, it will consider that you don't know the concept. So immediately from that point only, the interview thinks that now you are ready because you don't know the
Okay.
concept, listening and you are saying.
Okay.
But you are aware of the concept. So it's a task that if others are also person just you are listening, it should be by you. That I thought it, I did it.
Okay.
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 you thought out of. So do you think that you are not a good software tester then?
No, sir. At my it was happened in the beginning. So I thought like I was also thinking like that, but I didn't think like this like out of the box. I didn't think what will happen if it will be stabbed in our leg.
Okay. So I guess you should then develop this characteristic that you only mentioned that a software tester should.
What happened? The interview immediately told you that now you should develop those skills, which clearly means that you are not selected. You have to develop and then come after. Once you develop those skills.
No.
Think out of the box. Okay, not a problem. So, can you tell what is white box testing?
Okay, white box testing. It is mainly done by the testers and developers, and the internal working of the software or product should be known by the tester.
So your voice
So
is
here
not audible.
you were at the point itself. You were saying very keywords that I explained you that you should know the internal structure of the code, that how it has been written, how the program has been written. That was very good thing. Okay. So when they asked you about white box testing, you were damn confident, and it was showcasing that you know the key points as well. So this was answered very well.
And it is also called as uh, peer box testing, and it is basically on what do you say? It is suitable for algorithm testing and all
See
algorithm.
what happened. You at the start you began with very nice thing that you know everything, and then you took a slowly dropped your confidence, which
Yes.
showcases that now you are thinking much. That should not happen. If you remember 2 points, just say and you just stop it.
Okay.
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 As I told you also, keywords. You use algorithm.
Yes, sir.
So
And that time itself, I understood the next question will be that one.
yes, very good.
Okay. So, can you list the types of white box testing?
Type.
So what are the white box types? We covered that statement coverage, branch coverage, conditional things. Statement coverage is each statement should be executed at least once.
So, but
Branches means
in our class, I don't think we cover these types of white box testing.
okay, not an issue. But when I was explaining, when we were doing actually the coding part, I was explaining that each and every statement should be covered at least once. That is, you are covering all the statements. Okay, so it is called a statement coverage. When we say branch coverage is like if you have any kind of condition, so a condition can be true or it can be false, right?
Yeah.
So each condition should have been checked at least once. That is your condition. That is your branches. That is a branch coverage. Okay, so these are the types of white box testing.
Okay.
So Verification and validation, these are comes under the V model. And verification is called, the phase is called, it is a, what to say, static analysis technique. Verification, it is not, it will be just checking like, not using the code. And it will check whether the...
It is not using code means it is what? We check what? We check a document. So whatever the design phase, whatever designs have been made, so we just check according to the documentation that the document, whatever has been prepared is as per the expectation or not. And whenever, always remember, when they ask you the difference, don't give paragraphs. Give them the comparison between two. What is verification? If they ask you what is verification, you are saying in the paragraph that is totally fine. But when they ask you the difference, always compare and show them what is the difference between.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
The product meets the requirement and all. The dynamic analysis technique.
Always remember, when we do in verification, we have a walkthrough and review and inspection. So just use these words. Let the interviewer ask you what is review, what is walkthrough, so that immediately you are driving it. You know now what is review and what is walkthrough. So if they ask you also, you should be prepared with.
Okay.
And we will check, it will be using code, whether the requirements has been met using this validation process. So, can you ask me?
Yeah. What test plan consists of? So how do you categorize your test plan?
So what a test plan consists of? A test plan will consist of test that ID, plan ID, the description summary for that, for which module it is be using, what modules will be tested, what will be the strategy, who will be performing the testing, what will be its entry criteria, what would be an exit criteria, which environments we will be using, which kind of tools we will be using, who will be our first point of contact. So all these things come under what? Comes under test plan. Before starting our testing, whatever kind of things that have been required, those all things comes under what? They comes under test plan. In test plan, we also have what kind of testings will be done, like ad hoc testing, smoke testing. In smoke testing, how many test cases will be there? What will be our entry criteria? What would be our exit criteria? All these things are mentioned in what? It is mentioned in a test plan. And who writes those? It has been mainly written by a test lead. Yeah.
Okay.
That question also might arrive here.
Okay.
Like how we need to write the test plan. So
What are the documents basically consist of? First, it should be the test case identifier. Then comes the scope. Then other.
See, the interviewers were very good. So he gave you some key points so that you can remember rest and you can say. But in real life, no such hints will be given. Never. Okay. So he was giving you the hints that it will be a ID will be there. The scope of the testing would be defined over here. The strategies that we'll be using, that will be defined. So you can just get that and you can say the rest of the things. Okay. So he was giving you the hints. But in real life, no interview will give hints. Okay.
Different features to be tested.
Okay. So I have a question. You said about in white box testing, we do algorithm testing. So what is an algorithm testing? So this will happen. Okay. So what is algorithm testing? In algorithms, what we do? We just break down the program, right? Whatever is there, whatever was our expectation, we just break down into algorithms. So it's a technique. You can just say it's a technique that is used for white box testing. Okay. Here we break down the code, or we actually, before implementing how it should be, we just write the algorithm. And according to the algorithm, we just test that what it should guess. We just guess that what outcome it should prevent. So it is used for debugging mode. Okay, so we know that in which step which value should be changed or something. So we can easily debug that the value is getting changed or not. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know about algorithm.
Okay, Nadalish. Tell me about what is RTEM.
RTEM. Okay, RTEM is the rapid.
What is R stands for? Requirement.
It's a requirement.
Requirement traceability matrix. Okay, which is being used to track or to keep a track of how many test cases we have for a per requirement. And what is its use for? So, for example, if there is some changes in the requirement, in the specific requirement, we know how many test cases we have to update.
Yes.
Or if say that requirement is no more useful, so we want to delete it. So we come to know that how many test cases need to be deleted. So for that, it is actually a mapping between the requirements and the test cases.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is its main purpose or its main use. That was expected.
Traceability matrix. So if there is any right?
The 5 main test scenarios. So what would you test in a mobile phone? So first of all, as I said, always start whenever such kind of questions are given. So this was a very basic. They had already given you a mobile phone. So first of all, you should start with always with the usability testing. UI, how the phone looks like. What is the color?
Okay.
Right, what is the color? What is the size? Is it tabular? It is a mobile phone. What kind of a mobile phone it is? Okay, it's a keypad or it's a Android. If it is an Android, on-off buttons, how you will be able to on the phone, off the phone, check its battery, how the timing is being shown, how the battery life is being shown. What is a display? If I touch it, it's immediately, if I click on any of the icons, so immediately that icon should get open. Okay, those all things are what? It is a basic 5 scenarios that you will test. Right, on off is one of the scenario. Checking the display, the timing, the battery life, the network of, if the SIM card has been inserted, the network of it, calling functionality, messaging functionality. This is like main basic functionality that we test, that we use in a mobile phone. Why we use a mobile phone? Just for the calling purpose, messaging purpose. It may be messaging from a normal phone, or it means like a messaging from a normal, or using an application. So this is the main purpose of using a mobile phone, to stay connected. So for that, what we use, so that should be your 5 scenarios. That should be. Okay.
In a mobile phone, and all the battery given with the phone.
Okay, fine. Tell me about, say, if I give you an email address field to verify. So what would be your minimal kind of inputs you would be using to test an email field? So in class also we discussed this, right? Email functionality or email address. There may be n number of infinity. I can give you infinity number of inputs. So what the strategy you will use to decrease those or minimize those kind of inputs? So what kind of strategies we will be using in black box? ECP, equivalence class partitioning, boundary value analysis, state transaction diagram, right? So you have to just say this kind of thing. In email, we just use an ECP and boundary value analysis, both. Okay, that was expected over here. So how with it is not possible. So according to you, how many inputs you will be?
I'll be inputting 3 or 4, sir.
So you said 3 or 4. According to what? But what strategies you will be applying for that GPP? The strategies are made that I will be using ACP. I'll check with valid and invalid inputs, as well as with the boundary that it should not exceed say 50 characters. check with 49, 50 and 51 characters to just see that it is working as expected.
Okay.
What would be your examples?
Email in different ways, like with dots, with numerals. Like password should not be, those inputs will be the deferred defect. I'm not sure.
Okay. So tell me, what is a deferred defect? Okay. So as I said, at least defect life cycle, you have to go for 5 times. Then you will be able to understand what is the defect life cycle and each and every status. Okay. So default status is that where it is not in the scope, so we won't be able to fix in this release or this cycle. We will be fixing that in the next cycle or in the next release.
Okay.
We are not fixing in this release. It's a bug. It's a bug or it's a defect. But we will not be able to fix in this release. We will be fixing in the next release. So we are marking as a defect.
Okay.
Tell me about what is the difference between a bug, a defect, and an error and a failure.
Defect is the one which was found during by the testers or developers during the software testing time, and bugs will be found by the users. And also, bug is the difference between the actual and the expected result. The last one is
It is also the same, right? When
Yes,
you're
sir.
and the actual is not matching, it becomes a defect or a bug. Okay.
it's a
Error and a failure.
error and a failure. Failure, error means, I think error will be like, it will be, it will happen if the user is working on the application.
So error is nothing but a mistake in a code. It's set as an error.
Okay.
So you are the one who are able to at least give the difference, proper difference, or you can state what is an defect and a bug. I think you went through the previous interviews and you got to know that this was the boom's question that was asked.
Yes, sir.
Right?
I have seen in one video that this question was asked.
Yes. And what is a failure then? A failure is nothing but say something is not working at all. So for example, some link is not working, or when you're logging to an say Gmail page, your login button is only not working. So that is a failure.
Yes.
Some of the small function, it may be functional, it may be feature, or it may be a whole application is crashed. That can be termed as a failure.
Okay.
And failure means, I think during the development phase, if the product is not meeting the requirements.
Hi Gittu. I would like to ask one question. Tell me what is latent defect?
Sorry, sir?
Latent defect.
Latent defect.
So a latent defect is a defect which is actually being not been identified yet. The flow, it's a hidden flow that never has been caught yet. That is called as a latent defect. And the next question can arise that it may impact the system or not. So yet it has not been found. So it is not impacting the system. So your answer should be no. Okay.
Yeah, can you please brief about that?
Yes, smoke test.
Do you know smoke testing?
Yes.
Yeah, can you please brief about that?
Yes, smoke testing is the basic of this software testing, and it is mainly checking the basic functionality of a product and all. So after smoke testing only, we will be doing all other testing. Smoke testing will be the first test we will be doing.
Okay.
So it was more clear what you said. It was expected, or whatever you have said is good enough. But if you just say that it's a basic, you said that it's a basic level of testing. It is just to verify that the the environment which is given for testing is actually we can start testing on. It is just used for identifying the, you can say, build, okay, or the executable file that has been provided by the developers is would be there, so we can start with the testing on that. Can we test it at all? So to just check that it is stable or not, for that purpose we use a smoke test.
Okay.
So that where we check just the basic functionalities, navigating, just login, navigating to all of the tabs, that all of the tabs are working on, just to check the basic function. There is a smoke test.
Smoke testing will be like checking the doors and all the.
Like Facebook. So, and I miss if I told you to test this social media site and write down the unit test cases and also smoke testing test cases. So, how you will write that? Tell me one to top one or two.
So first of all, I will check if you are using this, if you are putting this Facebook address on the Google Map, then the Facebook app means the app first page is coming. Okay, then the field for putting our username and password, that field is coming or not.
Yes.
Yeah, this will be the smoke testing phase.
Okay.
So Gitto, smoke testing is not only for the login functionality, right? It is like after that you go to the home page, you navigate to all of the tabs, like videos are there, notification is there, your name is there. So just navigating to all of the tabs to just see that at least that page is coming on it.
Okay.
Say you want to add your feeds or you have to add your photos, just clicking on that and your photos are displayed. That's it. That is just smoke test cases. And what are the unit test cases then? To just check unit of code. Like when you click on home page, you just go down, just fed, all your news, recent news should come up. Right?
Okay.
If you like, what should happen? If you comment, what when that comment will be displayed? If you, can you delete it? These are the units of codes. These are small units, right? It can be considered. You can consider the whole application as one unit also. It depends on you. So first you should set the unit test cases, and then you should shift to the smoke test cases.
Okay.
So, Gittu, one last question from my side. Tell me what is top-down approach?
Top-down approach comes under the integration testing. Top-down approach means we'll be in top-down approach. We'll be using stub as a
Okay.
Stub as a
And how?
dummy model, right?
Yes.
And when we start with that when you will start a top-down approach, when my top models are ready, that is my parent is ready, but my child is not ready yet. So just to test my top is working as expected or not, I will use a stub as a dummy model and I will call that functionality to test my top models are working or not. That's my top-down approach.
Yes, sir.
How it is different from bottom-up?
So see, you if you were able to convince him what is the top-down approach, he won't use he will never use that tell me then what is the difference between top-down and bottom. Okay, so he was just checking that you know the difference. So in bottom-up, what we do when our bottom models are ready but our top models are not ready, so we use a driver, a dummy model for calling. It is mainly used for the calling purpose to just check my bottom models are working as expected or not. Okay, and once my code has been developed as my the parent class, I'll just replace that stuff, replace the driver with my original code. That's it.
as a top down, we are using stuff.
Okay, Deep, I'm done from my side.
One question that what is the thing that you like about most being a software tester?
Finding the defects stuff.
So you like to find the defect of others, right?
And not actually others. If if I was using something like, if I say I like my motorcycle, I have a bullet. So if there is any sound, or say there is any missing coming, I would like to know what was the defect and how we can rectify that.
So when you're saying this, you are damn confident. But I'm sure if I ask you at the next moment only that, okay, tell me, you might be using WhatsApp for daily communication, right? To interact.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are the defects that you have found in the WhatsApp here till date? Because you said you like to find out defects, right? You gave an example also of bullet. So I'll give you an example of WhatsApp. So tell me how many defects you have found in WhatsApp.
Actually, in WhatsApp, I'm not
See,
finding any
you are,
defect.
as I said, you will not be able to, because when you say that I like to find defects, when you say about the software, that is totally fine. But never give this kind of an examples, because the interviewer might ask you, okay, then you mean to say that you like to find, right? So they
Yeah.
may give you an example because you are using WhatsApp, Facebook on daily basis. So they'll ask you, did you find any kind of defects over there?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So given appropriate, why you like testing, because I have gone through it. I got an interest. I started learning it. Now so I want to, I also like to find the defects. I have found maximum of defects in this product. Give the example of your product, what we have used in our testing batch. You have found there are defects. We have found n number of defects over there. You can state those. I have found this kind of defects and all. Okay.
Okay.
Give those example where he will not be able to answer you, because he will not know about that product. He is not aware. So he will not be able to ask you over there. But if you give him the real-time examples, he can ask you many more examples.
Okay.
Right. We basically try to
An
play a
example.
bit safe during the time of interview. So as Govind rightly mentioned, that if you have performed, if you have worked on any system where you have found various kinds of defects, use that. I won't be aware of that thing, or the interviewer won't be aware of that thing. So he will not ask any further question. However, as you said, he can ask you about WhatsApp, because there are a few people who have won a lot of money by finding out defects in WhatsApp or Facebook. You might have checked in newspapers as well. So there are defects. Till now, there are defects. But since we do not take a lot of interest to find out these defects, the people who actually works very hard and try to figure out what defects they have or the loopholes they have. In Amazon also there is a loophole. So there are many things that you can actually state, but it's better that we play safe during the time of interview and come across with some points which the interviewer won't be aware of, but you will justify your answer as well. You like to find defects, come up with a reason that in which area did you find the defects. Okay, so
Okay.
then you will justify your answer.
Okay.
That's a good example basically. So being from a mechanical background, so people from a mechanical background tend to have that urge to find the defect. So you will be, it's like a mechanical engineering job.
See, he only gave your answers. It was a very keen point that you can mention, that as I'm a mechanical field, I have lot of tend to find defects. I have got that interest from there itself, and so I want to move into this, because there also we find the maximum of defects in the hardware itself. Now I want to find it from the software as well. So he has maximum, given your answers what he was expecting from your side. Yeah.
Right. And all these were absolutely instantaneously, right? So because these are some things, some points that generally comes up in the mind. I was not saying anything, I did not prepare this answer. You said on the call itself. So I came up with that instantaneous thought that yes, if this is this thing, then it can be that thing. So you have to figure out that processing time in your brain as well. If the person who's sitting in front of me is stating something, what can be the next question, or what can be the next answer that I can give, or how can I relate the answer that I'm saying right now to any other circumstance or scenario. So you have to try to figure out, you have to develop that skill set. This is also a skill set that you develop. The more you talk with people, the more you develop this skill set. That is the that is how I developed and how you can develop as well. Okay. So with that, we come to the end of today's feedback session. Okay, fix it. So Govind, you can stop sharing the screen now.
And we will be sharing.
Right. So was that beneficial to you, Gitu?
Oh, absolutely, sir. It was
Are you right or
100%
clear? Absolutely.
beneficial for me. Yes, sir.
It's clear. So
Because
you were thinking that.
if I see this video, like what I have said is all mistakes. It's maybe lack of interviews I have attended in this field.
Hmm.
So now I got an idea how I have to answer to an interviewer, how I have to answer for their
Right.
question.
Right. The thing is that when we see ourselves at that time, we actually find out that these are so many mistakes I'm doing. This should not be correct. And also, when someone doesn't give me a feedback, I think I have given absolutely. See, all the answers are correct. Everything is fine. But when they point out
Yeah,
exactly,
sure,
see,
sir.
here is the mistake. Here is the mistake.
Before starting this session, I didn't think in a HR session there will be this much issues and all. But when you
Right,
figured
right,
out
right.
my mistakes, then now I understood
Right.
where I have to.
Definitely. Next interview, I'm very sure that you are going to do well. But next interview, the difficulty level will increase a bit. Okay. So this was a very basic interview that we had taken. So next interview, we are going to ask various kinds of automation questions and everything. And your third interview, it's not going to be an interview. It's going to be a machine round that we are going to take. Okay. So I have dropped a message on the group as well. So start preparing for that.
Okay, sir.
Take the help of Govind sir. Try to figure out in which areas you are still lacking. And few days are left. So kindly gear up and devote as much as time it is possible for you in studies,
Okay.
so that you can crack a job at one go. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And we
And
are
also,
staying positive and we are very helpful. Yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
we are hopeful. Sorry. Yes, continue. Vaman.
yeah. And now also you realize how smoke interviews are important, right?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, anyways, thank you, Gitu, for joining today's feedback session,
Sure.
and we'll meet in the next interview. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
sir.
much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Bye.